Wait, stop. Before you watch this movie, go watch Coherence first. I'm gonna be spoiling the crap out of this movie, and trust me, you want to go into this blind. Don't look up anything about it, don't read about it, don't even look at the poster. Just go to Amazon Prime and type it in. It's free to watch. Just do it. It's a real brain buster. Then once you've done that, come back and watch this video. That last part is really important. But jokes aside, this video may be even more confusing than the movie itself if you haven't watched it yet. I'm going to be breaking down scenes and going over the concepts presented in them, so this is the final warning. Go watch it. I think if someone asked me what the most underrated movie I've seen is, it would have to be Coherence. It's a sci-fi thriller from 2013 and the freshman feature film of director James Ward Burkett. And oh boy, what a movie to have as your first. The first time I finished it, I just kind of sat there on my couch while my brains melted out of my ears from the pure insanity ride that this movie took me on. I then set out to show this movie to everyone I could think of, just so I could watch their mind get as fried as mine did. And as of May 2024, it's been announced that Burkett is working on a sequel, which I had absolutely no idea about until I did some research for this video. Now, I am stretching the truth a bit when I say that this movie is underrated. It's not exactly a household name, but it's developed a cult following among fans of the sci-fi genre, such as myself. I put it very high on my personal list just because I think it is so impressive what Burkett was able to do with his limited resources. When you think of successful or quality sci-fi movies, most times they have a huge budget for both practical effects and CGI. But for a movie like this one, where that's not a luxury, it forced Burkett to craft a movie that is solely powered by the script and the actors to make it engaging. It had to convey its ideas in a believable way without anything to help the viewer visually. And the fact that this is done so successfully is just beyond remarkable. And as if that wasn't crazy enough, what if I told you the movie didn't even have a proper script? But I'm getting ahead of myself. For those who need a refresher or those who ignored my spoiler warning, Coherence follows 8 friends who meet for a dinner party on the same night a comet is scheduled to pass overhead. All is normal until their power abruptly cuts, setting off an evening of strange occurrences. The group comes to find out that they are just one of many in a seemingly infinite number of realities that all have one thing in common: the same group of friends at the same house. Through their fearful investigations into the other houses, they find themselves entangled in these different realities with no way to return to their own. Throughout the film, we follow one member, Emily, as she hops from reality to reality, searching for a better life than the one she has. Now, right off the bat, the concept for this movie is just so much fun. To explain why I love it though, we gotta go back to school for a minute here. It's time for the very first edition of the Sci-Fi Corner's Sci-Fi Corner. Coherence is basically an exploration of the theory known as Schrodinger's cat. Now, for people like me who never paid attention in their theoretical physics class in high school, it basically is the idea that if you put a cat in a box and introduce a poison into the box that might kill it, then that cat is both dead and alive until you open the box and look inside. The theory states that these two realities exist at the same time until an outside force acts on it, which in this case would be whoever opens the box to look at it. It's essentially playing into the idea of quantum physics in that we can't determine where atoms will be at any given time, only the odds of where they'll be, and the cat is representative of this on a larger scale. Also, you want to know a little fun fact about Schrödinger himself? Believe it or not, Schrödinger actually disagreed with the idea of quantum probability, even going so far as to say, "God knows I am no friend of probability theory. I have hated it from the first moment when our dear friend Max Born gave it birth." So he created the Schrödinger's cat theory to demonstrate how ridiculous he believed quantum theory to be. But it eventually became such a well-known theory that people still use it to this day as a way to explain quantum theory to the average person. I don't know. It's just funny to me that he made an entire theory up to show how stupid he thought it was, but he accidentally made it so stupid that it's actually smart.
Until now you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
But anyway, Coherence takes this idea a step further by asking the question, what happens if you took the lid off of the box and that there were 2 cats, one for each possibility, both dead and alive. In the movie, there's a reality for every single minute possibility, down to the difference in glow stick colors or whether or not a glass is broken. This idea has always been so interesting to me, and it's so cool to see it represented in a film. To dive into the actual story of this movie, I want to start where I always start, with the characters. With a plot as convoluted as this, you gotta have the right balance of how much you develop your characters. You can't have them be directionless, because we as the audience need a way to emotionally connect to the idea, We need a human lens to properly understand this very inhuman concept. But on the flip side, you also can't make the characters too complex or deep, because in a short yet complicated film such as this one, it makes your concept muddled and confusing. The idea has to be the focal point. It has to be center stage. And one of the reasons I think this movie works well is because it has the right balance. The movie isn't so much focused on the nitty-gritty of its logic, opting to have a strong emotional core, which allows us to understand the movie in a philosophical sense, rather than a scientific one. Burkett makes the right call by focusing on just a few characters out of the group rather than trying to juggle all 6 of them. The 2 characters I want to go over, Emily and Mike, are the ones who I think are the most developed and pose some very interesting philosophical questions. These 2 are who I actually interpret to be the protagonist and the antagonist, respectively. So let's start with Mike. Now, I know it's a bit of a stretch to say that this guy is the antagonist, but it actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Besides the initial reality splitting caused by the comet, he's the main source of the bulk of the conflict. He's the one who takes their situation the hardest, and he's the first to consider taking action against the other versions of themselves. He gets drunk and suggests wanting to kill their other selves. He writes a blackmail note to the other Mike, using information that is later revealed to be the fact that he slept with Beth, Hugh's wife. And another Mike beats him to it, putting the same note on the door, causing a fight with him and Hugh. After that, another Mike breaks into the house, tackling the first Mike, descending their reality into chaos. Also, a fun fact about this scene, the Mike who breaks in isn't CGI'd and it's not played by a double, it's actually Nicholas Brendan's real-life twin brother, Kelly, who apparently also acted as his stunt double during his time on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
We should do it now. Well, what do we do if it doesn't work?
Kill us both, Spock.
They're kind of the same now.
With all this in mind, I think it's pretty clear that Mike is the unequivocal antagonist. The idea of meeting yourself has always been a philosophical question that's interested me, and I always love when it's explored in a story of any genre. You know, come to think of it, I think that's one of the reasons I like Severance so much. That show has such a creative interpretation of this idea. Only 18 weeks, 5 days, 7 hours, 32 minutes, and 47 seconds until season 2. But, you know, who's counting? In the case of Coherence, I think Mike is a fascinating way to look at this concept. Early on in the movie, it's pretty clear that he's got some issues. I think he's got a lot of self-loathing, and that especially shines through when it's revealed that there's more of him. While his friends take a more apprehensive mindset to this reveal, his approach is to assume the worst. He thinks that the other Mike would be out to get him, even going so far as to say he would plot to kill him. He assumes that the other Mike would be drinking, because that's what he would do. These are all things a person with low self-esteem would say if put in this situation. There's a point where we get a glance into this decline from Lee, his wife.
Should I be keeping an eye on him? I feel like I don't want to hover and I don't know.
Just give it a minute and then go in and talk to him, I guess.
I don't know who Mike is anymore. Not when he drinks. Everything that's gone wrong with us started when he started drinking. It's why we had to leave LA. It's why he doesn't have a career. He's just, I don't know, not the man I married.
This all paints a picture of a man who hates himself, and when he is faced with the literal personification of these issues, the worst happens. Emily, on the other hand, arguably our main protagonist, highlights another interesting philosophical aspect. Throughout the film, it's pretty clear that she's got some regrets, those being that she dropped out of that dance project that was almost sure to project her to fame and money. I kind of get the sense that this left her too scared from that point on to make a decision that wouldn't keep her right where she is now. She wants things to stay the same. She doesn't want to rock the boat, which I think is definitely apparent when she decides not to go with her boyfriend Kevin on his business trip to Vietnam. But this has negative repercussions when it causes a rift between the two. Throughout the night, their party descends into chaos due to the many versions of themselves that keep rotating in and out of houses. Burkett has said that although we see multiple versions of almost every character in the movie, we only follow one Emily. And if you ask me, this is because I think she highlights the thesis of the movie. As she's going around shopping for a reality where she says yes to going to Vietnam with Mike, I couldn't help but notice the callousness on her face as she walks past house after house where she makes the same choice. It's almost like she doesn't even realize the gravity of what she's doing, blinded by her drive to find a better life for herself. Given by what she does next, pretty clear that she'll stop at nothing to achieve this, but it comes with a price.
That's weird. It's you calling me. Hello?
The other Emily is still out there. She is now the cat. There's two of her. One dead, the Emily who couldn't get over her regrets, and one alive, the Emily who wasn't afraid to make a decision in the first place. And the way the story ends leaves us as the audience to decide which side will win, which version of Emily deserves to exist. I think this says a lot about not getting hung up on past mistakes or missed opportunities. Coherence is telling us to appreciate the life we have, or else you'll end up as two people. The part who exists now, and the part that can't let go of the past. Cinematography-wise, I would say that this is the only place where the movie falters for me. One of my movie pet peeves is shaky cam. It just always takes me right out of a story whenever I see it. Even in some of my favorite films and shows of all time, I still can't stand it. For me, it always reminds me that I'm watching a movie. It always subtracts from the immersion. Now, in this movie, because of its budget and lack of resources, I'll defend it a little, but every shot is shaky cam, and sometimes even out of focus. This may have been an artistic choice, but it just doesn't work for me. Like, seriously guys, can we tone it down? I feel like I'm gonna throw up. But as for another strong point for the film, I think the score is perfectly implemented. It's very restrained, which is a risky move in a movie where you're relying a lot on the main cast. But the scarcity of the music allows for the emotions and nuance of these performances to shine through and lets us draw our own conclusions about the motivations of these characters. And when we do hear it, it's usually in moments of silence where it allows you to soak up the atmosphere and it really hammers home the gravity of the situation these characters are in. The scene with Emily at the end is my absolute favorite in the movie. It's the only time the music crescendos throughout the entire runtime and it perfectly encapsulates the tone of the scene. It's a great piece composed by, I'm sorry, Kristen. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name because I know I'll butcher it, but please go check her work out. The song in the credits fits pretty nicely as well. Like I've said before, this film is a masterclass in the art of low-budget filmmaking. It strips the hallmarks of sci-fi down to its bare bones. It has one setting and a premise that is only convincing if the main cast is able to sell it. And it's insane that a movie that relies so heavily on its actors and actresses' performance is this gripping. And they crushed it. Every interaction feels organic and realistic, and Burkett achieved this through a very unorthodox way.
The goal was to create something that had very natural performances and flexibility of shooting, and so the experiment became, you know, what would happen if we got rid of the script and got rid of the crew. You know, the two things that you think are the most vital to making a movie.
Yep, you heard that right. This movie doesn't even have a script. Apparently he had a general outline for how he wanted the story to go, but he kept his cast in the dark about it. Over the course of the 5 days it took them to make this movie, he would only give the information necessary for that scene, and sometimes not even that. He would give some actors info while withholding that same info from the others, only to have it be revealed organically during the filming of a scene. Burkett would bang on the door or cut the power during filming without telling anyone to capture their natural reactions. The actors would begin to film a scene without knowing a single thing except who their characters were. The only exception was Alex Manoogian, who plays Amir. He co-created the film with Burkett and knew the ins and outs of the plot. His job was to steer the scene in the right direction if things got off track. I also love the way Burkett uses props like the ping pong paddle, the broken glass and the glow sticks, as well as subliminal lines of dialogue to indicate that nobody is from the same reality. I've seen some theories that everyone who meets for the dinner party is actually from a different reality before the lights go out, just based off little lines of dialogue thrown in here and there.
What are you doing these days?
Wow,
Keeping yourself busy.
I'm keeping busy. I'm actually working with some outreach programs in Silicon Valley. We work with at-risk youth and...
Oh, wow. But didn't you... No. Are you still teaching the yoga? The Spanish yoga? The spoga?
No, not me.
Pretty sure that wasn't... Oh, then that must have been another girl that Kevin dated that Amir
Wow.
is hooking
Let's
up
give
with.
him
Were you an actor? So you do mainly theater, or?
Well, I did. I mean, since I've moved down here to support my wife and her Skype-ing career. But no, I did a TV show for about 4 years.
Yeah, what was that?
It was called Roswell.
My God, I love
I was on-
Roswell.
Hey, I was.
When were you on Roswell? What episodes were you on?
I was on all shows produced. I was on every
do you mean?
I was a series regular on that show.
Yeah, he was like the main guy.
What character did you play?
Joe.
Did you have?
Yeah.
Did you have different hair?
I
or
had the
something?
same exact hair.
I'm sorry. Maybe it's just one of those things where you know the character for so long, and then you see someone in person, it just doesn't compute. I don't know.
I don't know. This movie is just so special to me because it really feels like anyone could have made it. And not to say it doesn't take an insane amount of skill to craft a narrative this complex, but the fact that it was done in 5 days by a group of friends with just an idea is amazing. It's inspiring as someone who loves film and who hopes to one day make something as good as this, and it should be inspiring to you too. So, if for some reason you ignored my warning and throughout this whole video you didn't click off to watch this movie, well, go watch it now, because you'll still get something out of it. You'll still be able to appreciate what they were able to accomplish with so little resources and with so much passion. So, 8 out of 10. Super underrated.